Hello, Care Bear here to share with you another pair of socks that are a gift for a friend. I'm traveling in the fall with a friend, and I always like to take a little treat or a gift to remind her of the trip, and so I have created these socks, and they are sock number 15 in my sock challenge, my personal sock challenge. I've been challenging myself in 2026 not to make the same pattern twice because I often do, and I'm pushing myself to look out there, look on the internet, look into our fiber sites and find different sock patterns. And so I have made these, and they are a pattern mix for simple socks and socks on a plane. I'll be honest, I started with Socks on a Plane by Laura Linneman because I love the cable that she incorporates in her sock. And I started with that, and I started with her pattern, which is a toe up pattern. And I don't know what happened. I got to the heel and something just wasn't right. I didn't follow the pattern properly because if you look on Ravelry, a number of people have done the socks and they are super cute and people have great pairs of socks. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was the air quality. We here in Toronto, unfortunately, in Northern Ontario, we've had a number of horrific wildfires that are still burning today, and we've been in somewhat of a lockdown because our air quality has been off the charts. And maybe that got, I don't know, my head was crazy, but for some reason I couldn't knit those socks. So I thought, well, stop. I frogged it and thought, no, I really want to do these socks with a cable because Laura's pattern is brilliant. So I thought, get another structure. So I went to my saltwater socks book and I found the simple socks by Christine and Shirley. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to use this structure because it's completely vanilla, nothing, you know, too difficult. And it is a heel flap and gusset, which I've done so many times. So I thought, okay, let's do that simple sock and then incorporate Laura's beautiful cables. So that's what I did. And let me tell you a little bit about the structure and the materials that I used. So it calls for, in that simple sock, for a US 1.5. And I used a 2.5 millimeter needle. I used the Lang Sock Joelle yarn for the navy at the cuff, at the heel, and at toe. And then in the colorful body part, this is the Estelle Color Story hand painted twins color, and it's actually Galaxy and I used 35 grams of that. And I used 16 grams of the Lang yarn for the other parts. I had purchased this Estelle yarn back in 2023, and I had made this friend with whom I travel. I had made her another pair of socks when we went to Prince Edward Island here in Canada. In the fall, we're going to Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia. And so I thought, hey, I still had some of this yarn left and I thought I'd incorporate with another color. And so this is what I'm going to give to her as a treat on our trip. So let me tell you a little bit how I incorporated these two patterns. The Simple Sock by Christine and Shirley is a cuff to toe construction. So I started with the knit to purl to, and I followed exactly the number of inches that they required for that cuff. And it actually is pretty long. You could leave it this way, but it's long enough too that if she wants to fold it over, she'll be able to do that. But I like that knit to purl to because it gives it a lot of stretchiness. So that's the cuff, and after the cuff you move into this leg area. And with the simple socks, it's just a plain knit, but I wanted to incorporate Laura's cable. So I did on the one sock, the cable will be the cables are on the outside of your foot. So there's definitely a left and a right. And so I had to think about that as I was creating the sock, and I just made sure that I started the round with the cable and incorporated it into the front or the instep of the sock. And so the cable is, I think, a 6-round repeat, and it's a cable front. So you're holding at the front 3 stitches and knitting 3 stitches, and you're just doing that all the way throughout the leg, and I just love it. I think it's super cute. I've done cables and socks before, but I love the idea of one and at the outer portion of your foot. So I did the leg. I had to be a little bit careful here because I only had so many grams of that Estelle hand painted yarn. So I had actually, I had weighed it and made sure I had separated it. So I knit for a number of inches, and then I went into the heel flap, which I did in the navy color, and I followed the pattern, the knit one, slip one, and then purl on the other side to make that strength heel flap. And then you move into the heel, and I stayed again using the navy, and then I switched back to the color Estelle hand painted yarn for the gusset. And when I came back to working on the gusset, I incorporated again the cable and continued on with the cable throughout the gusset on the instep. And then when I finished the gusset, I was moving into the foot. And in the foot, I also kept everything as a plain knit, but incorporating that cable all the way to the end till I was ready to do the toe. So it's really actually quite simple, because once you're repeating those 6 rounds for the cable with 2 purls on either side of it, and I just made it at the beginning of the instep or the end of the instep, because for the right and the left of the sock. And then I went into the toe with the navy, and I stopped obviously doing the cable. It's just a plain knit, and you're decreasing every other round on both the front and the back of that toe to a certain number of stitches, and then they actually have you do it on every round. And when you get to the very end, once you have the number of stitches required, and I think I did, I think there were 2 sizes, and I did the larger of the 2 sizes, and then I did the Kitchener stitch to finish that toe. Yeah, so that's my mix pattern using the Simple Socks from the Saltwater Ladies on the east coast of Canada, and Laura Linneman's Socks on a Plane. And maybe I'll be passing these to my friend when we are on the plane to Cape Breton. So it's a great knit. Check out Laura's pattern, check out Christine and Shirley's pattern if you want to make a fun little sock with cables. Thanks for listening.